Hello, lovely people. Public service announcement for the beginning of this video. It is both rush hour, there are dogs barking, and people in my house. Don't really know who they are. But anyway, I'm too lazy to be filming this at any other time, so get ready for a lot of background noise. I apologize in advance. So this past weekend, IFSA, the Institute for Study Abroad, which I don't think I've mentioned is the organization through which I am studying in Santiago, Chile, had a group trip to Valparaíso and Viña del Mar. Valparaiso and Viña del Mar are two sister cities a la Minneapolis-St. Paul that are about an hour and a half outside of Santiago, based on the coast. Valparaiso is not only one of Chile's most important ports ever since the days of the conquest, but also holds the Houses of Congress after the military coup of 1973, which will probably be discussed in a later video, to decentralize some of the power in Chile. The Congress was moved from Santiago to Valparaiso. The city is based on 40-odd hills, and as a result is mostly vertical. They say that there are 3 levels of Valparaiso. The hills, the flat place right by the ocean, which is not the best place to be right after an earthquake, the sea itself. As a part of our trip, we went on a guided city tour with a very knowledgeable guide who is unfortunately not pictured. Got to see a lot of really cool historical places and walk up and down some of the city's hills. Some of these are actually not accessible via automobile, and if people get sick and need the ambulance to come, the dudes with stretchers have to walk up all those steps. One of my favorite things about the city is that it is very colorful. First off, because it's a port town, and like most port towns, the houses would be covered in the same material that the boats were. This served a twofold process. One, it protected the adobe houses from the wind, which is a given when you're by the sea. And as for the second part, that served to identify which boats belonged to which houses. Obviously nowadays, outside of the historic quarter, that's not really how things go, but Valparaiso has kept to the colorful buildings initiative. The other reason why it's colorful is because there's graffiti everywhere, and I love street art. So get ready. I'm just gonna talk for about 15 seconds because I took so many photos of out of context graffiti, with the exception of this one, which describes the Chilean people from south on your right to north on your left, from the people of the Straits of Magellan, the southernmost inhabited landmass, to the driest desert in the world, the Atacama. It also includes the Rapa Nui of Easter Island. As part of the city tour, we also got to take a ride on one of the funiculars, which is the way that they got around the city initially, before electricity, by only allowing people to go up and waiting until they had more people in the top one so that it would weigh enough to bring the other one back up. And if you weren't lucky enough to get there when there are just enough people to go down, you just had to wait around or walk. But usually they were for goods. Anyway, the last big part of our tour was going on a quick boat ride around the harbor, which was exciting because we got to see a lot of wildlife like lobos del mar, which are sea lions, although they're sea wolves in Spanish, which I just think is delightful, and penguins! We did see 2 penguins, but they're quick little buggers, and so I only really captured one on camera and only sort of at that. But I saw them, pictures, it happened. There were also a bunch of other birds and pelicans all over the place flying over the boat. As for the non-animate things that were going on in the bay, Valparaiso is one of the most important ports, as I have said, but also the naval base for the country. Really giant cargo ships that were in the process of loading and unloading, as well as naval vessels of which you are not allowed to take any photo or video, but you can see in some of the panoramas that I took of the city itself. After that, we stopped for just a little while in Viña del Mar, which is basically the nice place that everyone goes back to live in after they're done working in Valparaiso. Viña del Mar is known as the city of gardens because they have a lot of gardens, and its symbol is a solar clock. At this point, my camera had run out of batteries, so I have some pictures, but pretty much all we did was go to a cafe by the ocean and watch the sea. Also, as almost always happens when you're with people by the sea, someone miscalculated how high up the waves were going to go. And now, because I'm pretty sure I'm being antisocial right now, I should probably go.
Cuidado con el suelo.